Hello, conversationist. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I say a very big welcome to you if you're just tuning in for the very first time. Hey, you made it to us and we appreciate you right here. Do well to subscribe, do well to like, do well to share, do well to engage in the comment section. Guess what? All of this is free. Yeah, all of this is free. You don't have to pay some money. Yeah, but your daughter. That's what you're paying for. I have to be honest. Yeah, we're using the natural light, so don't mind the different colorings that you see on the screen. Nothing is going on wrong out here. I just had to put that out. Okay, let's go back to our conversation that we were having earlier, right? I'm sure if you've watched the last video, if you've not watched the last video, if this is your first time tuning in, please go back and watch the other videos that I just started with on this series that we're discussing having a conversation around pornography, which is now a menace, that one of the biggest menace of the present world or the current, this century, the 21st century. Okay. And I promised you, yes, you, that today I was going to share with you something else. Yeah. So watch the last video if you haven't done that. Today, I'm going to share how my mom caught me not watching pornography, reading pornography. You know, when we talk of pornography, the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, people who watch the download people movies of people who are just having sex 247, like they're having sex, they're having one some, two some, three some, quadrusome and all of that. Funny enough, I never even knew what the word threesome meant. I didn't know what the word threesome meant. It's years later that of recent that I knew that threesome means three people having sex, and I can imagine how diabolic that looks like. Having seen pornography itself, because I'm guilty of that. I shared it in the video, the episode 2. If you've not watched it, you go back and watch it. So on this episode, now I grew up in West Africa, so of course there's a West African system of education. I was supposed to be writing the junior WAEC at the time in Nigeria. Yes, I was supposed to, we're preparing for junior WAEC. And then there was this subject I kept on reading that I was finding it difficult to do. There was a particular part of it which has to do with shorthand. The name of that subject is business studies. So one of these days I'm in my mom's store. I'm at the store, a store, and I'm reading this subject. But this subject, the notebook is not all I have brought to the store. I've brought a novel that looks like this. I brought a novel that looks like this. A very big novel, by the way. You know these best-selling American novels, authors, yes. I was 14 plus, by the way. Yes, I was 14 years plus. I think that was around, we wrote that exam in June, July, yes. And I was still reading these books in May. And they're not small books. The books over 400 pages. Yeah. Most of the time they're from 200 above. Yes. Best-selling American authors romance. Johan Lindsay. Authors like that. I remember I was reading one of her books. I don't think I should even say the name, or I don't know why I ended up saying the author, but I already did. Okay, we're on our way to healing, so please don't feel bad. I'm just having a conversation with you. So I'm reading this book, this business studies that I'm trying. Like I've been giving all my energy this past months to this particular subject. Like everything must enter. I need to read this. Why is it just this subject that I find it difficult to grasp a lot from me? Like I feel like there's something missing. You know, when you're preparing for an exam and you know those parts where you have weaknesses, you know those parts you need to improve on, you really don't need the teacher to tell you because you know them. You know those courses, you know those subjects, right? So yes, my problem is with business studies and I'm studying. And then at some point I get bored. So I'm like, if it's not going, I have my novel here. Come on. Why did I bring it here in the first place? So I put it in between my books. So I'm using my Bible here. I put it in between the notebook, which is not more than 80 leaves. I don't know if my business studies notebook but was up to 80 leaves, but yeah, not more than that. And then I'm reading. I'm so engrossed in what I'm reading that I do not hear my mom walk to the entrance. So at the time she arrives the store, there's no way I can take that book and hide anywhere and continue pretending to be reading my notebook, my exercise book. Yeah. So the moment she comes, she's like, Atabon, go and get me this. I'm like, go to the house and bring this for me. Hi! My heart keeps like it jumps out of my body. I don't know where it flies to. But I just like, okay, mommy. Like put this is how I the book is big. It's bigger than my notebook. It's not that it's so big, it's thicker. You know how those big books are like a dictionary. Imagine putting a dictionary inside a 60 leaves notebook, how it will look like. It will be so obvious, right? So I do that and then I just keep it on the bench. I know my mom will catch me today. I'm finished. So I go to the house with my heart beating. I run up to this to the house. It's a one-story building. I run up. I go and get what she has asked me to do. Like I'm literally praying, but I'm not really praying. I'm just like, oh God, but God is not even hearing me. He don't even know me that time because he knew. He's been warning me, right? I knew what I was doing, so I need to face the consequences. When I come back to the store to attend to my mom on what she had actually asked me to go and do and come back. As an African mother, my mother sits and brings out that book. She has brought it out and just placed it on the table. Like, you know, when the Lord presents your sins before you, how judgment is going to be. Lord, we must make this heaven. And she just places, see what you're reading. Is the shame. Why? I didn't have any, there was no lie. I could cook up in it, but there was nothing to lie about. I had been caught. I had been caught. And you're probably saying, but it's just a novel. I know that's what we say, but what we read in these novels, does it not arouse you though? Is it just the videos that arouse you if you were to be honest? I don't know if you've ever read them. Have you read them? I don't think you should start. Now you're probably asking, how did I get entangled with erotic novels or romance novels? Here's the truth. We have a shelf in our room, the children's room in the house, and we have tons of books growing up. From the Chinua Achebes to the Wole Soyinkas to Western authors, different kinds of big books that we have. Now, I struggled with reading growing up. Like for the first year in primary school when I moved to Nigeria. Yes, to live with my cousins, yeah. But when I pick up, so I started reading almost anything on the shelf. Now at this age of 12, I think 13, I find this book on the shelf. It's a novel, a short novel, very short best American novel. It's titled Have a Nice Night by James Hadley Chase. Now that's an investigative book because I actually read is it the summary behind it? And I love to read I thought like, okay, this would be good because I had grown so versed. Like I was reading a lot of things, not necessarily, not bad books because we didn't have erotic novels on our shelf. We had really good African books, international. We had James Hadley Chase's The Portrait of an Artist as a Young Fellow, as a young man. If you're of the literati, you will definitely know that book, James Joyce, by James Joyce, yes. So I had picked up James Joyce's book and I tried to read it. I think I was about 12 and the language was not for a child like me. I don't know, I could not relate. But I pick up James Hadley Chase's Have a Nice Night and then I start reading. When I start reading, why I get engulfed in it is because of the movies, the action movies. Because now I could not believe my eyes that within the first 10, 20 pages, I could actually picture the scenarios in my head because they give you vivid description. If you've ever read uh investigative books before novels, you will know the give vivid description. You will probably ditch watching a visual investigative movie and rather read one. You rather read one and ditch the visual one. I don't know if you get what I mean. So that's what I was doing. I was reading and I was so engulfed. I was enjoying it. So when that book finished, I wanted a novel like that with action, with a pistol, like a knife. There was a lot of there was a lot of I don't know suspense in that particular novel and enjoy it was not so much of a big book, but it had the cover was very misleading because it had a woman and the back cover award with some panties and a hose and all of this, but that's not what I was concerned with. I read the summary. That's what I was concerned with. So I didn't judge the book by its cover. I actually judged the book by its content. And I remember when my cousin found me reading that was like, God, see the type of books you're reading. I'm like, no, nothing. No, it's not what you think. You know, when you get caught in the movies, especially African home videos, you be like, it's not what you think, especially in a situation like cheating. So that I was trying to explain to her. So I finished this book. Now that's when my addiction started. It looks very innocent, right? And it was innocent. I don't know how your addiction to books, romantic or erotic novels starts. So now I'm searching for books that are like that, and I don't find. But then, when you start thinking something, your mind travels and your spirit, it begins to grab those things. So of course, I have friends, I have classmates. People are reading small novels, stories, romance. It's just nothing serious. And then you finish reading that short one that looks not so serious. You go into a higher one. You don't even know when you start. And that's when we started exchanging novels like that. Until I read that, I was started reading the one that my mother caught me with in the store. It's not like after that I stopped though. But those books, I didn't want to deceive myself. Something had gone off because you're reading those books. You're telling yourself you don't watch pornography. But the descriptions they give you in some of those scenarios in those books, man, that is pornography. So it's not about me being above 18, because I think that sometimes, even as adults, we tend to have this teach and our younger ones, or make this make believe that just because you are an adult means you are in total control. There are things that you need to teach yourself. This is what you want to do, and these are things you want to watch. Because I kept at it. And I think, yes, at some point I read the erotic magazines too. I did. I am a voracious reader. So I was reading different things at that age. I don't even think right now I read the way I used to read back then, because I used to read almost anything I see. I used to read whole newspapers. I used to watch the news. I am current, maybe not with world affairs, but with Nigerian affairs, current affairs, because I lived there. I grew up there. So I'll read all of that. And then, hey, you get so entangled. You are reading. A customer is actually coming to the store. Your mind is on what you're reading. It's like the customer is bringing disturbance because you are so engulfed in it. You were like, I can't believe I've been wasting my time. If I was doing that now, like, I won't probably waste my time downloading movies. I'll just buy a stack of novels and I'll sit on them. Best-selling erotic novels. But then there are things to do to you. I don't know if you can control them for you, but those are not good. Those are no-go areas for me. I don't think I need to be reading those things. I think you when you read books like that, you torture yourself sexually. Oh, yes, you do. I don't know if you agree with me. Do you agree with me? I like to get your views on it on the comment section. For me, it's self-torture when you're watching those visuals, those pornographic visuals. When you're reading them, you torture yourself sexually because you're imagining things. And let's be honest, I want to be honest with you, and I believe you'll be honest with me too. When you're doing all of that, your body begins to tune into the same feelings that are being described in the book or in the visual that you're watching. It's the truth. They begin to tune in. It's not what you want. You just feel that maybe because maybe you're abstaining, whether you're abstaining or not, or you don't have anybody whom you want to have the sexual relationship with, you're not comfortable, you're not ready. You you're beckoning on all of those feelings you're not ready for when you're watching them and when you're reading them. And that's the basic truth. And the moment you start, it's like an artificial foreplay without anybody, without you being with anybody. And you don't need to be sexually active to know what foreplay is, to know how true babies are made, to know what will happen if you want to have a child with someone. You don't need to be involved. You don't need to be watching pornography to know what to do. You don't need to be reading all of this to know what to do. Maybe, I don't know about you, maybe what you will need to do if you have certain situations or things you want to understand better, maybe you should be sitting before a holistic sexologist. I'm not talking about some of the babblings we see on social media where people want to claim that they know so much about sex, and they give you this kind of ideas. There's a way they teach. I won't even call it teaching, because when you sit with a sexologist, I tell you, their language is really beautiful. They don't clown, no. They tell you the truth. but they do it so wholesomely. And it's so beautiful. If you listen to them, it's really beautiful. Don't just listen to them. Listen to yourself. Listen to your body. Talk to yourself. God gave you your body. I think I've gone, I don't know. I think I've gone beyond what I was supposed to. Okay. I leave it as God would have it. If I've said some of the things I've said beyond what I intended to say on this particular episode, let's leave it at that. So let me get your reactions on the comment section. Please remember to keep your comments as respectful as always. I'll see you shortly. Goodbye for now.